Alright everyone, hey, welcome in. So this is my next deck video. It's a Nero, it's two Nero decks actually. They're both Devil Breaker decks, and they have taken me this season from A5 all the way. At one point I was at like 75, but with the way the points work and everybody climbing, I'm currently sitting at 96, which means I'm gonna have to play some more a little bit later, but I was at 88 earlier this afternoon when I last was on. So but yeah, so it's gonna be two Nero decks, both versions of a Devil Breaker deck. The first one I'm gonna show is what took me from A to champion, and then when I got into champion it was doing okay, but I noticed it wasn't as consistent anymore, so I made a zombie version of a Devil Breaker deck, and that'll be the second deck I'll go over. So here's the first one. Let's take a look. So I call it the Agility Break MP deck, because the original idea came from using Agility and Devil Breaker put together, and I noticed it was a little slow, so I added some two felines in there as like a to speed up the MP growth a little bit if I can get them. But let's go over it real quick. So I have 3 wall jump. It gives shield to a friendly unit, which is great because I am running a black unit in here, so it also could be used on them. 2 disarm, inflict seal on an enemy unit. This is very important. Seals are very important against zeros, and Rathlos and X. Also, to an extent, Ryu. It's very good. It removes their stronger removal units. It takes away the Valstrax and things like that, and it can take away a V very easily if you can land it right. The next card is, I believe it's 3. Yeah, it's 3 of Blade Shattering Defense. It gives plus 3 HP to a friendly unit, but at memory 2 it also gains shield, which is very powerful. Extra health, shield, perfect. Keep unit alive, keep him on the field, especially with this deck, because it is a multicolor deck, so you're running units with less HP. The better part of Valor is an escape card. It returns a friendly unit to the EX pocket and gives that unit +1/+3. Kind of like Rescuer's Bullet in red, but red is all about doing damage, so they do damage. Green is all about healing and buffing your units, kind of, I want to say that way. Sorry, my allergies are really bad right now. But so it buffs your unit to bring it back into the EX pocket, saves it from brainwash, saves it from destruction, things like that, saves it from being sealed. It'll unseal the unit. 2 felines, just a MP boost 20, 1/7, good low cost MP boost. This is where we start getting into the agility units. Yin Kiku, I run 3 of them. It's a 2/5 with agility. It's just about putting pressure on the opponent quickly. This is another key card to this deck. It's Iris, the 3 cost Iris. Memory 2, she gives a friendly unit other than self +1/+2. So the idea is to drop one of the agility units, drop her, and buff them up as they keep going. So I run 3 just to get the buffs going. I run 2 TT Yaku's because it's a drop seal, which is amazing to counter things, especially if you're playing a purple deck with negates. You just negate the unit in front. 1 Heavenly Kick Chun-Li, the agility and the combo. Perfect unit for the Devil Breaker because it'll make her a 5/6 with combo. Really good. Ultra Lady Karen, she has agility, and on ascend she gains +2/+2 and inflicts seal on the unit in front, which is very important in this deck. As you can tell, I'm going towards a sealing variant to counter things like Valstrax and those higher cost cards that you can't really get rid of. 3 Eliminator, and Eliminator has agility, and its effect is when played it gives a friendly unit or friendly Eliminator unit +1/+1. So if you get several in hand, you can basically, if you drop 2, you have 1 as a 2/4 and 1 at a 3/5, and if you have 3 on the field, you have a 2/4, 3/5, and 4/6. So it's just constant pressure, ramping up the attack. 3 Fate of the Unworthies. These are for things, especially when you're playing X, to remove those Resonate X's from the field. Or remove, against a black deck, you're removing the Astalos from the field if it gets super buff. Or just removing things under 4 that can become major threats. If you're fighting against a Jill, it removes Nash very easily. And last is Bloodbath Frenzy. As you know, I love this card. You sacrifice 2 life, gives a unit +1/+2. Very good on its own there. If you have memory 2, it gives an additional +1/+1, so it becomes +2/+3. And it gets spillover, and at memory 4, that unit also performs an additional attack. So the way this deck works is you're probably going to be at memory 4 by the time you want to use this card. Instant attack, +2 attack, +3 health, and spillover. Perfect for an agility deck. It really gets the job done in the middle. In the middle lane, it works really well with Chun. It works great with either agility units. Also, it buffs up Feline to become a pretty beefy unit. So overall, this deck, like I said, it was doing good until it got to Champion, and then I was inconsistent. I wasn't getting the draws anymore, and I started seeing more of a difference in the meta in Champions, which you do once you go from A to Champion. It's a huge difference. So I made some adjustments. I noticed the problem was not the... it wasn't more the units itself, the speed, it was the MP. I was not catching up with MP. And the zombie shell basically is perfect to keep up with MP if you're going to run a mixed color deck, especially if you're going to splash black like I was. So I played around with some ideas, and this is the idea that I came up with. It's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different, but it still kind of has that agility pressureness to it, and the pressureness just comes from having the Yinkakus in there, and you'll see Cammy. So let's go over it. Defensive stance. It gives shield to a friendly green hero. I use this to prevent getting hit in the face by like Agent's Memories or any of the Denjin cards. Because Denjin is very popular in Champions right now, so this is kind of like a Denjin protection. Again, 2 disarms. I still want to have that seal ability, even though it's a little bit less. I want to be able to remove those Valtrex threats as they drop on the field. The Doll's Memories, +1, -4. Very good to remove a unit that has 4 health or less. Or buff your unit if you're at 7. Even if when you hit 7 memory, it's +4/+4, which is very good. Only 2 Yinkakus, that's all I can fit in this. I wanted to run a 3rd, but I couldn't fit it. And it's just agility 2/5. Killer Bee Strike Cammy, she has anti-air. Memory 4, she gets +1/+1 for every action card in your hand and EX pocket. And memory 7, she gains heavy pierce and agility. So that's the reason I run so many more actions in this deck, is to buff up Cammy when she gets to the field. And it's not a problem with the zombie shell running so many actions, because you're going to have things coming back. 2 Mad Massacres. This is to remove the black units when they're being threatened, or do some quick damage if I need to a unit on the field. It destroys a friendly black unit, then deals 5 damage, split damage amongst enemy units, which is really good. Hatred Reborn. It places a random unit in your graveyard at 3 cost or less back onto the field, which is very good because almost all my units except for Cammy and Sigma are 3 costs, so I'm constantly recycling units back onto the field with this card. Zombie. On death, it gives you +1 MP, so there's where I'm talking about. You get that extra MP, and it has Revenge. It gains 2 attacks, so it becomes a 5/2 on Revenge. And the Revenge is also important because it helps build up Sigma's revenge counts. Excuse me. And then there's Junie. On death, she is +1 MP. Again, getting that MP back. Oh, excuse me, sorry. And she's a 2/5, so she's not bad on the field. Gate is one of the key cards. He's a growth unit. It's a growth 3, so it fits right in with these drops of Zombie and Junie and stuff. At level 2, he gains death +1 MP, which is awesome. And at level 3, he gets +4/+4 and destroy after 1 attack. So he would basically become a 6/9 if he hasn't already taken some damage. And then it's a quick 6 to the face if you time it right. Possessing Malice is key. You use it to dupe Cammy. You can use it to dupe Sigma. You could also use it to remove an enemy threat right away if they're super buff. Just boom, remove them. They're back to their base stats. It's great. Rebirth. It's kind of a tech card, and it gives a random unit in your graveyard -1/-1. It places on the field. My main target for this is Cammy, but it is a random unit, so sometimes I've pulled Gate out, I've pulled Junie out, but that's okay because they're back on the field. They give you that MP when they cycle. That's when I meant dupe Cammy. If you use Possessing Malice on her, and hopefully, if fingers crossed, Rebirth pulls the one back into the field, you have 2 Cammies, good to go. Again, 3 Fate of the Unworthies. It's for your X. It counters X and it counters 4 MP cards. It's just there. And Civilization Rebel Sigma. Infinite Revenge, and on Revenge it gains +2/+4, so it becomes a 4/8. And when Revenge has triggered 8 or more times, he gains +3/+3, and he gets Heavy Pierce, so he becomes a 7/11 with Heavy Pierce. So there's only been a few times where I've been able to trigger that 8, but when it happens, it's very good. He's the man. So those are the 2 decks. I'm going to go over some gameplay for both decks, and so the first 2 games, or 3 games I believe, are the agility base shell running through A to champion, and then the rest of the games are going to be champion running the zombie break deck. Alright, so let me jump over to those. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Alright everyone, so here's the first game. It's against, at the time, a number 31, and it's a Ryu deck. It's a Shinku deck. So here we go. Right off the bat, I'm dropping agility, and like I said, remove the threats with Fate. Again, he used a rescue, but that's okay. I have the shield in hand. It's good to go. I've already used 2 action cards now. So now my shield card is ready. +3 in a shield. Letting it charge up. He's not doing anything, so I decide I'm going to drop another one. So now he's going to be 2/9 with 2 shields. Perfect. He's kind of protected from a lot of things that are going to drop right now. He drops the Penguin, so I use Devil Breaker to remove Penguin, and I had already sealed Rashid with the Tsetse. I decided to seal Axel, so he can't take anything of mine, and I'm just going to let the agility roll. He gets the Shinku, that's fine. I add another Cuckoo in hand. He removes, and there's dropping the Iris. Again, it doesn't work out the way I wanted it to, but it works. I drop the Eliminator. He's going to remove Iris. It's looking okay. So I have the Eliminator going. I decided to drop the second Eliminator. So he removes the threat in the bottom lane. I drop Iris. Becomes a 3/6. I still have Devil Breaker, so I'm going to use it. And now Iris finishes the game. Quick, easy win. Like I said, you put pressure on, you remove their threats. The next game is against Rikoha 0. We all know how we hate Rikoha. It's not bad, but you know. So I want to always mulligan for an agility unit in hand. So luckily I pulled 2 Eliminators, and I decided I'm just going to cycle cards to get Iris going, which is fine. He ended up removing the Eliminator. That's fine, but I'll be able to put out another one. But I used the Bloodbath because I want to get Iris's memory up a little bit, especially with a Cammy in hand. So I decided to just buff his health. So now I have a 3/5, and I'm going to have a 2/7 on the field. So health is very important against Rikoha. And now Iris is ready to buff somebody as well. So I drop her, and now I have a 3/9, a 3/5. And here's where the health comes into play. See, I still have a 3 unit on the field. He's dealing damage. He's rushing. I didn't have to seal there, but I felt like doing it I didn't need the Tsetse. And that's fine. He goes, he halts him. I'm okay with that. I have some agility units in hand, and I'm going to bring the Tsetse back. At least that was my idea. So I can seal again on drop. Then I buff up a little bit. There you go. And I decide I'm going to remove the unit, another agility unit on the field for the opponent. Kind of, He still has a Rikoha. He uses it. bam. We're just, again, we're cycling, and we're going to end the game right here. Devil Breaker's a finisher. So there we go. Rakoha out. Alright, so now we're into the champion play, so now here's going to be the zombie version of the deck. It's going to go a little bit slower this time, because I do want to talk about, once you hit champions, what's going on. I decided to keep this hand. Did I have to? Probably not, but I wanted to put pressure on the X right away, and I had a Fate in hand. Usually I would go to get Gate in my opening hand, but I had Fate, and I want to do that in case he drops an X. So I shield up my hero just to start cycling. I have a bunch of cards in hand that I'm just trying to cycle some actions through. So I have a Seal and a Fate, so I'm good for whatever X drops. He drops an Iris. I decide I'm going to let her, I'm going to seal her. I don't want him gaining faster MP. I just don't want that. And I pull another Seal, which is nice. So if he drops an X or any kind of buff unit, there's the X. Here's Fate of the Unworthy. Bam. X gone. Game plan over. You know, now you got to charge up and save for anything. He tries to save him. And I'm like, whatever, you're going to save him at this point. That's good on you. You had the card you needed in hand to save him. But he's off the field. So now I still have a Seal in hand for when he returns to the field. So that's why I didn't use it on anything or anything like that. When I use it, I didn't want to dupe him. I don't want any of that. So he drops the X again. I thought I was going to get a lucky shot with Agent Memory, or with Cammy. I didn't. He's going to buff, and then I luckily drew a Fate, so I'm going to remove him now. It was kind of a bad choice on me, but it actually ended up working out favorable, so I'm going to take it. And now I have a Junie in hand, so now my real MP cycle can start going. Hopefully I can start pulling some units. Because as you saw, my first couple draws were all action cards, but that's okay because I was building up the memory. So I dropped Junie, I pulled another one, nice, I can get some MP going. I'm trying to save my Hatred Reborn for a Gate if I get him, but if not, I could also bring back the Yinkaku, which is what I'm going to do here. Because I decided I'm going to load the field and start getting pressure going. If he drops another X, I have the shield. Or I have the disarm, I should say. I also have a shield on Nero, and I have another shield in hand. I could also remove units with the 5 damage. And here comes the X, and he's going to use Charge Shot. So here's where things get a little interesting. I have to seal X. Yes, he's probably going to get a card off at that point, and he does. He has a honey, so he uses it. I decide I'm going to then try to at least mitigate some damage off to a unit. And I get lucky that I remove the shield and I remove the second Iris. So now I can start doing a little bit more action here. He decides to steal the Iris, and I'm going to take a chance and try to remove her with 5 straight damage. But he has another shield. Okay, Iris is there. It's going to be alright. I'm going to shield myself. I also have Malice in my hand, so I could reset that Iris if I wanted to. He has no way of bringing her back, so would I want to use it as on Sigma? Yeah, probably. But he gives me the opportunity here, and I'm like, nope, this is not going to happen. I'm going to remove this Iris. We're not going to go with her buffness. But he has 2 Shattered Horns, which is, again, great call on having that in hand. It happens to hit both times the unit I don't want it to. And the reason I used Malice there is because I had the shield on my hero. Therefore, it's not going to affect my hero very much. I'm not going to take that damage. I finally pull my first Gate very late in the game. But now we're just sitting here and just, again, loading the field. I'm going to try to remove the unit here. I do. Cool. And then we're just going to coast from here on. He drops... sorry. He drops that unit, and now I'm kind of in trouble, but I still have the health advantage on my side. And and with health advantage, I'm going to try to... I don't have enough to do a double breaker to do enough damage, so I'm going to try to hope I can keep units on the field. And unfortunately he runs out of time, and that's it. There goes X. So then we're going to move on to the next game, which is against Blazing Wall. Alright, so I have Gate in hand. I decided I don't want Cammy in hand, I want her later, so I'm going to remove basically my whole hand, and I get lucky and pull 2 units. Usually I would say if you have Gate in hand, just play it, but I didn't want to play Cammy early, so I rotated it, and I also got, and here's the Valstrex, and look, I have a disarm in hand. I got really lucky and pulled that. Because I know he's probably going to seal, or he's probably going to shield if I would have used a damage card. And now Valstrex is kind of useless to him. And I can drop Junie in front of it, and now I'm pretty safe. I do have 2 Fates in hand, so I'm hoping he drops some 4 cost or less cards, and he does with the Rashid. So I can remove that. I'm kind of holding on. I don't know why I waited so long. I think I was just building some backup NP in case he tries to do anything. But I also pulled 3 defensive stance in hands. So I'm going to at least use 1. And I used that 1 to get myself, try to draw cycle. I want to try to save 1, but if I need to keep draw cycling, I'm going to have to use all 3. Because I don't want to be stuck with all action cards and nothing I can do without getting benefit out of it. But now I could use Hatred and bring back Junie, so I don't have to use a shield, but I decide to anyways, to see if I got a gate or anything like that, and I didn't. I got another Fate, so it's time that I'm going to need to cycle something. But he saves me, and he drops a 4 cost card, so I can use a Fate. And again, I draw another action card, which is a thing with this deck. I only have 13 units, so I am going to be drawing into more actions. I'm just getting heavy action early in the game. And he drops a Rashid, so I'm like, oh look, I have another Fate of the Unworthy. I can get rid of him. Here we go. And I use it at the last second because I don't want to lose my shields on my hero. And I do draw a unit, which is awesome. It's a revenge unit, though, a revenge zombie, so it's not going to be the greatest. But I have an idea. I'm going to drop it and then use the destruction card. Just to try to remove it. Hopefully he didn't have any shields. He doesn't, so there goes Penguin. A lot of his board clearing damage cards are now eliminated. He maybe has 1 more Penguin and 1 more Rashid. He probably does. I haven't seen him yet, but I'm ready for it. I finally get Gate, and I do have a Yinkuku in hand, so I decide to go at it. I get Gate buffed. I use Devil Breaker. I use it here because I don't want Hood staying on the board, so this way I could at least get her to 1 HP, use Hatred. Hopefully it goes in the same lane. If not, I hopefully draw a unit to replace there, and so it does, and I do get a zombie in the same lane, which is fine because I'll get a little MP boost from him. But it doesn't work out. He drops a card. I am now like, ugh, I haven't been doing much here. Let's get going. I get the zombie, and then I grab Sigma. So I have a Malice in my hand, and I have Sigma, so my plan is to try to hold on as much as I can. Hopefully he tries to go for Sigma. I don't want to initiate an action if I don't have to. I Devil Breaker to immediately remove the threat in front of Sigma. Maybe get 5 off on the field, and I do. And the reason I didn't go for taking out the Valstrex right away is because I had the shields on. And now Cammy was set, ready to go. So I dropped her to take on the Valstrex because of the anti-air. He uses the Blazing Wall. Gets it buffed, but I do get it off the field. He only has 1 Valstrex left. I decide I'm going to try to tech it, and it doesn't pay off, but the idea was to tech and duplicate Cammy and then try to pull her from the graveyard with Rebirth. It was a risky play, and he has the counter to it both times because I had the doll's memories, which would have saved her. But you know, I lost her. Sorry about that. I kind of twitched on that. And I do have some rebirth cards. So I'm like, maybe I'll pull one, maybe not. Or should I play gate? I'm kind of thinking, and then I'm kind of waiting for him. I decide to play rebirth. See what I pull off. I pulled a gate, which means I'll just drop the other gate and I'll leave. Oh, didn't have enough time, so I dropped Sigma in front of her. But I did pull another gate, so I have 2 gates, and I decide I'm gonna maybe try to pull the 3rd one back out of the grave to get some gate damage going. I pulled Junie, so I'm kind of stuck there. Would it have been smarter to play gate and then play the other gate? Probably. But this is what I went with. I'm kind of ahead right now, hoping, so I decide, look, there's no point in dropping gate if I can't get his MP, so I'm going to just try to pull something from the graveyard, and I pull Yinkaku. I don't want him to dupe Axel, and all of a sudden my recording is going out here. But I don't want him to dupe Axel. Oh, what is going on? But he does. So he dupes with Sigma. And so now I'm just like, I'm going to try to get as many units off the field as I can. I'm kind of in a situation. But I do have a way out of it with Devil Breaker. Penguin gone. And I don't know why he buffs the penguin here. But he did. I think he was just trying to cycle cards. But I'm able to get the gate. And so now I can roll. I pulled Sigma back in hand. And there we go. We're hopefully going to roll into a finish here, and he surrenders. I'm really sorry about the recording right there. I do not know what happened or why that happened, but yeah. So last game is just a mirror game. At this point I was already in the top 100. It's kind of a mirror game because it's Devil Breaker, but it's a completely different deck. So 2 units in hand. I only have 13 units in the deck. It's safe to say you want to play that. So drop in Junie. And I'm going to hold on a little bit. I want to see what he drops. I want to have enough MP to counter. So I have 2 seals in Fate, so I can remove any lower cost card that comes out, and I could also then seal a big unit that comes out. So I can seal this Chris, and then I can remove the Nidhogg. So I'm just trying to see how he reacts here. He uses aid, which, okay, you're going to buff your Chris, but you give me the opportunity to remove your Nidhogg. Thank you very much. I don't care if your Chris is buff at this point. I can deal with that because he doesn't have his abilities anymore. You can't get buff off of me, off his victories. So it was a good idea. I was lucky to have the counters in hand. I decided to use Hatred right away. I want to get things on the field. And with using Hatred, I'm able to then use destruction cards and remove my own units to bring it back. And then I get another Hatred in hand. So if he played another card, I was going to play a Hatred again so that I could just cycle through units. But now Chris is only a 4/4 and 2/5 Junie. Gonna survive that unless he uses a shield. I also have Devil Breaker set up. So now I'm just playing the waiting game. I say I'm going to use Devil Breaker. If the timing's right, which it should be, he's going to hit, not kill her, and die, and then I have an open shot at his lane. Again, want to remove that Nidhogg. It does become a threat later. And he has the health, which is fine, but then I decide, you know what? I don't know what he's going to bring out. I need to make sure this Nidhogg does not cause any damage, so I'm going to seal it. I don't know why he uses the 3 growth card. But he does. I decide to Hatred, and so then I have a full field of Junies, so I have 3 MP waiting as they die off. So I get 1 back, and I decide to drop Yinkaku. Let's start putting pressure on. Let's make him make decisions early. He uses Devil Breaker just to make sure my unit goes off the field. He then has a Zangief with shield. That's okay, you can remove him. I'm going to drop gate in front of him to protect, or
to then hopefully cycle him through. He's going to seal gate. Whatever, fine with me. I have a zombie in hand. I still have some MP options. I also have another Yinkaku that I can just start putting pressure on him again and get the Devil Breaker set up to go. And look, I also have Cammy in hand. But he seals my Yinkaku, and we double Devil Breaker to remove the units from the field, which makes me laugh. It's a great move. Good job. Yeah. So then I drop another zombie. I'm trying to load my hand up at this point, and he just surrenders. So I don't know if he hand locked or anything, but that's it. That is my deck. Here again is the Agility MP version, and here will be the QR code in a second for the Agility based version. And then the next deck coming up in a second will be the Zombie Break version. Here it is. And then I will leave you with the QR code. And then I'm also going to leave you with a little treat. I'm going to leave you guys with a treat right now. It's going to be the death of Zero. There you go. Take care, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'll be coming out with another video soon. Thank you.